जो सुख मिलता है उसके आगे सब कुछ फीका। तेरे प्यार में जो सुख मिलता है उसके आगे सब कुछ फीका। प्रभु तेरी मीठी यादों में, प्रभु तेरी मीठी यादों में रस है मौलाई मस्ती का। तेरे प्यार में जो सुख मिलता है उसके आगे सब कुछ फीका। वो देह का भान है भूल गया, वो दुनिया पुरानी याद कहाँ। दोनों नैनों में झूम रहे अपने प्यारे ये दोनों जहां। आकाश भी छोटा लगता है, आकाश भी छोटा लगता है, कदमों ना लगता धरती का। तेरे प्यार में जो सुख मिलता है उसके आगे सब कुछ फीका। हर तरफ चमकते नूर दिखे, मणियों से सजा है जग अपना। आबाद जिंदगी गाती है, अब सच हो गया मेरा सपना। क्या कहिए खेवनहार बना, क्या कहिए खेवनहार बना, भगवान ही अपनी कश्ती का। तेरे प्यार में जो सुख मिलता है उसके आगे सब कुछ फीका। प्रभु तेरी मीठी यादों में, प्रभु तेरी मीठी यादों में रस है मौलाई मस्ती का। तेरे प्यार में जो सुख मिलता है उसके आगे सब कुछ फीका।
Good evening, Avyakti Parivar. Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing? Good? Had a hard day's work? Huh? So, today's Murli will give you so much of an intoxication that all that tiredness will just melt into intoxication and it will melt into enthusiasm, right? All right, so you just relax and open your ears and open the soul and empty the intellect and listen to Baba's beautiful words. So what I want you to do before I start is just for a minute, I want you to bring the picture of the kalpa tree in your mind's eye. Just visualize that picture of the kalpa tree and just hold it for 30 seconds or so. Just hold that tree. And your eyes could be wandering all over the tree. It could be on the branches, on the twigs, on the leaves. It could be moving down to the trunk. It could be moving from the trunk to what's below the trunk, incognito, the roots. So now imagine that you are below and you are looking to see which root you are. You can be a taproot. A taproot is like Brahma Baba, like Mama. They help to nourish the other roots. Or you could be a root near to the taproot, taking that nourishment. But find which root you are and position yourself there. And then hold that for a few seconds. Okay, so seeing yourself as a root is to see yourself as an ancestor of the whole kalpa tree. So the awareness with which you're going to be listening to Baba's Murli or reviewing the points of the Murli is being an ancestor soul, a Purvaj soul, an ancestor soul. So in the Murli, Baba says ancestors are the roots, but ancestors are also the trunk. So we are incognito, we're below, but we're also the trunk. We're between the roots and the branches. So what do we do as ancestors? What are some of the things that we do being the ancestor souls? So Baba says being in the roots and being in the trunk is that we nurture the whole tree. We nurture the branches and we nurture the twigs and we nurture the leaves by giving the whole tree sakash. So when we were looking at the tree earlier, did you experience yourself as not just sitting at the roots of the kalpa tree, but being responsible as an instrument to give the entire tree sakash, Baba's sakash, and recognizing that we are Baba's instruments doing that, Baba is asking us if we have the intoxication. And intoxication means I would have never thought about something, but here am I doing it, and it's giving me a thrill, a kind of a special feeling, a kind of a pleasurable feeling that actually I can do this. I can give sakash to the entire human genealogical tree, the entire kalpa tree. So Baba is saying that that's part of the intoxication, that I'm doing it. But the other part of the intoxication is that souls are attracted to us, the ancestors. And what they're attracted to in the ancestors is the power that the ancestors have. So what is attracting souls when we are sending them the sakash is the power of the sakash. The sakash are the powers we have within us, two powers, light and might. Knowledge is light, and the might is the remembrance that we draw from Baba when we are remembering him. So both are required to give sakash. So the souls are attracted to those powers. Baba says that when you look at the world as ancestor souls, what are you seeing? Is that all the souls are unhappy and they're calling out to something, they're calling out to someone for help. And they're mostly calling out to us, those souls who were deities. And they're calling out for some things in particular. Ancestor souls are responding to these specific calls of souls who are in sorrow. One, they're saying to us, come and protect us. The second thing that they're asking for, one is protection. The second is peace. The third is power. And the fourth is forgiveness. So people are in need of four things: protection, peace, power, and forgiveness. So the Sakash would include that, wouldn't it? It wouldn't just be powers, but it would be the protection, the canopy. It would be the peace, reminding them of their home, reminding them of their father. And it would also be the forgiveness. It's like they're burning in the fire of repentance. And they need the ancestor souls to kind of send out to them these vibrations. And they feel that they can be forgiven for whatever it is that they're holding on to. So then Baba is saying that as ancestor souls, we should also be aware that serving the tree is not just about serving the Brahmin souls who are yet to come, but serving the tree is that we are serving souls of all the religions. So the main branches would be the main religions, but the sub-religions of those branches and the sub-religions of the sub-branches, we are serving all of that. And we are the ancestors of all of them too. And he asked us a very nice question after saying that, is, do we consider that the religions of all those branches and sub-branches and sub-sub-branches, do they belong to our tree? Is it one tree? Is it the same tree? Or is it different? Is there a difference in the tree? Are there many trees, or is there just one tree? So Baba is telling us that if we are ancestor souls, one of the things we will do is that we will consider all the souls of all the religions, that we belong to them, because they have the feeling that we belong to them. So when they're looking at their ancestors, they may not know, Baba says they do know, but they may not know specifically who these ancestors are, but they feel the ancestors belong to them. And so in this belonging, it's two ways. It's we belong to them and they belong to us. And so this feeling of belonging is very strong in an ancestor soul. Just hold on 1 minute. There's a little angel who came up here to see me, so I was just saying hello to her. Sorry about that. So Baba is saying this sense of belonging is on both sides. It is us belonging to the whole tree and the whole tree feeling that we belong to them. So Baba says this is what these souls need from the ancestor souls now. They need us to sustain them. They need us to give them protection. They need us to give them power. They need us to give them peace. And they need to feel a sense of forgiveness through us. So Baba is saying, just as Baba, when Shiv Baba came, he sustained us all. right? He sustained us all with his powers, with his virtues, with the treasures of knowledge. So many things he gave to us. He even entertained us in the way that he was sustaining us. And we all came from different religions. We all came from different countries. We all came from all parts of the world, but Baba never discriminated against us based on those things. He served the souls, and he served the soul as the seed of the human world tree. And so he wants us, the roots, the ancestors closest to the seed, to serve them in the same way like he did. So he's saying that we need enthusiasm to do this. And, it's a very difficult thing to maintain a consistency in my enthusiasm to serve with Sakash. Because serving with Sakash is not I'm in front of any human being doing this. I'm with Baba doing it. And so how do I measure the Sakash that I'm sending to all these souls? He will later on tell us that the way to measure the Sakash, even though I'm not physically in front of these souls, I'm sitting in his room and I'm doing the Sakash. I'm sending it to these, the light and might, the protection, the peace, the power, the forgiveness. But there's nothing to measure it by. And so if I don't have something to measure what I'm doing for other souls,
Estoy haciendo con todas las almas.
Arjun, I'm hearing you. Then what happens is that I don't have the intoxication. I don't have the enthusiasm to do it because I'm not having anything to measure the service that I'm doing by. But Baba did say that the way you can measure it is by the enthusiasm you have to do it, to do this practice of Mansa Seva. But secondly, the fruit of that practice will bring you a lot of happiness and cheerfulness. And that's how you know people are receiving it. Because what's coming back to you from spending an hour giving Sakash through the mind or doing Mansa Seva is the return from Baba. And you will feel a lot of happiness and a lot of cheerfulness. And that's the yardstick to measure the success of this quality, of this type of service. But Baba says it requires discipline from us to do it. And another result that this service worked with the discipline that I did the Mansa Seva with was the way I was worshipped on the path of bhakti. So he says we weren't just ancestor souls, but we were also worthy of worship souls because of the way the memorials are worshipped. He says that we were worshipped with discipline. We were praised with discipline, and we were remembered with discipline. So the devotees did their devotion to us, whether it was worshiping us, whether it was praising us, or whether it was remembering us, it carried a discipline with it. And that was because we did this Mansa Seva of sending Sakash to the whole tree with discipline. So Baba said another thing. Then he went from telling us the qualities of an ancestor soul, and then the qualities of the discipline with which the worthy of worship soul, which we are as well, were worshipped with or devotion was done with. But then he came back, both the ancestor, being in the awareness of the ancestor and being in the awareness of this worthy of worship state that I have inside of me as a Brahmin soul. It constitutes, these two things give me an experience of my self-respect. So he was saying this self-respect in relation to being an ancestor and being a worthy of worship soul is what makes you feel equal to the Father. The self-respect of ancestor and the self-respect of that discipline make us feel equal to the Father. But he says the equality that we will feel is a sense of completion, that I am, it's not like I'm making effort, and I'm not seeing anything. But every little bit of effort I make, the result that I would feel is a sense of completion and a sense of perfection. Even if it's a drop, that drop will make me feel I've accomplished something. I've completed a day, and at the end of the day, I was able to accumulate something. I completed the day with an accomplishment. I completed the day perfecting something inside of me, whether it was a thought, whether it was a word, whether it was a single action, whether it was a relationship. But there was some element that I used Gyan in such a way that I felt that sense of perfection. But Baba says to feel this completion and perfection, being like him, we needed to add this word sada. There needs not just a consistency in the effort, but sada means there's an unbreakable line of effort. So there's a consistency, but it's not broken. So that is what he says that we needed to add. We need to pay attention to this because he says that this respect, this self-respect that he's telling us about of being the ancestor souls is elevated self-respect. And so we need to, just as how Baba considers us and is telling us we have this elevated self-respect, he's saying we must also have it for ourselves. Do we have a vision of ourselves with that same elevated self-respect for ourselves? Then, having set that context of ancestors and our self-respect, the elevated self-respect that comes from considering ourselves to be ancestors, then what kind of service do ancestor souls do? Did you remember what kind of service you do? He was saying there are 3 types of service that the ancestor souls would do. The first one is that they would give sakash, mansa seva. That's the first level. So remember, the ancestors are down in the ground. They are incognito. They are the roots. So mansa seva is an incognito service we're doing. It's something we're preparing the mind then to serve. So mansa seva is that. Before we even do the sakash, we are preparing the mind. Is the mind qualified to serve? Does the mind have the power to serve? Is the mind equipped with the spiritual skill sets to serve? So we're looking at all of that. So the first thing we do is to give sakash by preparing that mind to serve. The second is the knowledge. When we are giving knowledge through our words, or we're bringing knowledge in our behavior and habits and in our actions, we're bringing knowledge in our connections and relationships, we're doing it based on what Baba is telling us. So the deep faith in the knowledge is very important. When we're serving, we can't doubt the knowledge. Because if we doubt the knowledge won't bring power. So whatever knowledge I'm sharing, I must have faith in it because I've experienced it to be the truth. And the third is my faith.
योगी बनो ज्ञानी
है प्यारा। योगी बनो ज्ञानी बनो, योगी जीवन है प्यारा। काम क्रोध मद लोभ मोह वश आज है सब मोहताज। योग लगा कर पाप मिटा ले, स्वर्ग सजा ले तू आज। काम क्रोध मद लोभ मोह वश आज है सब मोहताज। योग लगा कर पाप मिटा ले, स्वर्ग सजा ले तू आज।
जन्म जन्म की प्यास बुझा ले, पावन बन कर आज।
योगी बनो ज्ञानी बनो, योगी जीवन है प्यारा।
संगम युग में परम पिता शिव कहते हैं राज।
तू है एक अविनाशी आत्मा, सुन लो मेरी आवाज।
संगम युग में परम पिता शिव कहते हैं राज।
तू है एक अविनाशी आत्मा, सुन लो मेरी आवाज।
सुख शांति और पावनता से झोले भर लो आज।
योगी बनो ज्ञानी बनो, योगी जीवन है प्यारा।
परम धाम से आए हैं शिव ब्रह्मा तन आधार। मुक्ति और जीवन मुक्ति का जन्म सिद्ध अधिकार। परम धाम से आए हैं शिव ब्रह्मा तन आधार। मुक्ति और जीवन मुक्ति का जन्म सिद्ध अधिकार।
चलना है चलना है घर वापस, अब तो यही ज्ञान का सार। योगी बनो ज्ञानी बनो, योगी जीवन है प्यारा। योगी जीवन है प्यारा, योगी जीवन है प्यारा।
So the three types of service we have to do at the same time. The sakash from the mind, the knowledge from our words, and the embodiment of the experience of the mind and the words through our face. And we have to do it at the same time, he was saying. So he was saying that this is the attention we have to pay to serve as ancestors, because he says, this is when he says the fruit of that kind of service is happiness and is contentment with ourselves and with those with whom we serve, our companions. It is also the vibrations in the atmosphere will be affected by it. So ancestors carry a presence of serving at the three levels at the same time and of impacting three things at the same time: the self, the companions, and the atmosphere. So how is it then that there can be success in the service of these ancestor souls? What is their success? What makes them so successful? So he was saying the first thing that makes them successful is being in the awareness of an instrument. It's called nimit bhav. The second is that they had pure feelings, bhavana. And the third, it's their sweet and pure words. So you could see he moved it from, he went into a deeper level now of the quality of the service that the ancestor souls would do. So he moved it from Mansa, from Sakash, from the knowledge, and from the sweet words. Now, what makes Sakash possible is the awareness that you're in. Because remember, Sakash is not something I give from within me. Sakash is I have to be an instrument or a channel or a conduit of God's light and might. So they had that Nimit Bhav consciousness. They had the bhavana, the pure feelings, because what got expressed in their words to make it sweet and pure, what got expressed on their faces, that their features in and of themselves attracted people by that purity that they exuded through their smile and through their just total face of the way of being. He said was being Nimit Bhav, and the pure feelings supported that awareness. And then he said, of course, they're pure and sweet words. But what is underpinning that now? The third level that he took us to was that they paid attention to their intention, their bhav. You know, later on, Baba will talk about our intentions, that how we would think an intention is pure, but intention is actually impure. So they paid attention to that bhav, as well as the bhavana. But what they also paid attention to, and this whole month we're looking at it, is the swabhav. It's the nature of the soul. Now, the nature of the soul is like an attitude. Attitude is something that is so subtle that we just don't get the grasp of it. And I think for many Brahmins, we also don't get the grasp of our nature. And so Baba is saying these three, bhav, bhavana, and swabhav, was also what was required from them to pay attention to. So he says all of these together, the nimit bhav, the pure feelings, and the sweet words, plus the bhav, bhavana, and swabhav, all of these together, he says, is what, if they're in alignment, it would make the soul content. And that contentment will also be experienced by others whom you are serving or with whom you serve. But what he also said, that an ancestor soul who does not see his or herself as nimit, with the feelings, the humble feelings of being an instrument, will not be able to forge a relationship with Baba. Because without that consciousness, we cannot get close to Baba. Now that's very striking, isn't it? My awareness in the service that I'm doing is connecting me to Baba so that an ancestor will not ever, the roots will never ever, even if it is a taproot, will never ever keep the souls or keep the tree connected to just the roots. They would always connect the entire tree to the seed. And so the roots being close to Baba and forging a relationship with Baba, the roots need to understand that they are an instrument for something that is beyond their capacity. And without the connection and relationship with the seed, they will not be able to fulfill what is it that they are doing. So Baba says, this nimit bhav, in order to know whether I'm in the accurate awareness of being a nimit bhav, I have to check two things. I have to check my intentions, and I have to check my feelings. So the bhav, the bhavana, and I have to check my nature, the swabhav. And I have to make sure they're pure, they're accurate, they're not driven by anything selfish. And then Baba gave us something that he called a signal. Now, how would ancestor souls serve other souls? How would they show up in their relationships and connections? And he says the way that they would serve is through drishti. So why is it that when we met the daddies and the dadas, the first thing they wouldn't say, "Oh, hi, how are you?" or "Om Shanti, how are you doing?" Like we do in an extroverted way. But they would stand there and you would go in front of them, like Sister Mohini. When you go in front of Didi, she gives you drishti. She very gently settles her eyes on you. And then you calm down. And then you look back at her and you begin to take the drishti. So this is what they did that helped them at the level of intention, at feelings, and also in their nature. So what they did when they looked at the soul, when Sister Moon is looking at you, what is she seeing? What do you think she's seeing? She's looking at your original sanskaras. And she's not looking at the sanskaras we have walked into the room with. And so by her looking at our original sanskaras, she takes us beyond the sanskaras we walked into the room with. So we transcend them as long as she keeps her drishti on us. So Baba is saying he then brought in another factor of faith. When you're giving drishti to someone else as an ancestor soul, you're doing it with 4 elements of faith. You're having faith in Bapdada as an instrument. You're having faith in Bapdada. You're having faith in the knowledge that he's giving us, that originally everyone has got these divine sanskaras, and that's what you must be looking at. That's knowledge. You're also having faith in the drama, the situations in the drama. You're putting the full stop. You're letting the past be the past. You're not being affected because everyone has a part to play. So faith in the drama. But fourth is the faith in the family. And Baba went on to expand on this a little bit. So he says that with this faith, this is the kind of faith that he wants an intellect who was blessed with divine insight, an intellect that is divine. These are the 4 levels of faith, or the essential faiths that intellect would imbibe. When the intellect imbibed these 4 faiths of Baba, of knowledge, of drama, and of the family, efforts become easy for the soul to make. He says that if these 4 elements are not strong, there will be obstacles for the intellect. There will be obstacles in my remembrance of Baba. There will be obstacles in the way I'm understanding the knowledge. There will be obstacles in putting a full stop to drama. And there will be obstacles in the sanskaras with the family. So that's where the obstacles would show up. And then he says, with the family, what is very important is recognize the family, love the family, understand the family. So what am I recognizing about the family? Is that it's God's family. And I'm part of that family. Even if I were to look at the tree as an ancestor, the whole tree is my family. I have to love the family because Baba loves me. And if Baba loves me, he loves every other soul too. So the best way for me to get on with the family is to love them. But I can't love them without understanding. So what am I understanding about the family? What am I understanding so that I don't clash with their sanskaras? Is that I'm understanding every soul has a part to play. But I'm equally understanding that originally we all have divine sanskaras. So I'm not looking at the part, but I'm looking at the divine sanskaras in the soul. Now, this is something that he says we don't do, and then he will give us a drill with which we have to practice this. We look at everyone as a soul, but what we do not look at is the divinity in the soul. And now we have to also look for the divinity in the soul. So he says that what is this special nature? That's my intention, right? That's what I have to do. The intention is to recognize the family. The feelings would be to love the family. And the nature, he says, of a Brahmin is to give good wishes and to receive good wishes. That's my nature. He made it very, very clear that the nature of a Brahmin is to give blessings and receive blessings. It's to give good wishes and receive good wishes. But then he says we bring to him a scenario. You know, we love to put scenarios in front of God because we say, you live up there, Baba, you don't know what's going on. Well, here's a scenario for you. And we say to Baba, well, how can I give good wishes and blessings to someone who is getting angry? And then we go further into our logic. When that person is angry, Baba, how can they even receive my blessings and my good wishes? They won't be able to because they're angry, right? The anger means I'm not receiving. I just want to get the fire out and I'm not cool enough to receive anything. So Baba says, okay, he responds to us now. And he's saying, but you know that that's the sanskaras that they have. Their sanskara is their nature then would be to give bad wishes when they're angry. But your nature is to give good wishes or to give blessings. But he says, if that one is angry and that one is giving the bad wishes, for you to say, I cannot give blessings to this one because he's giving me bad wishes or giving someone else bad wishes, so he's not deserving of my good wishes and my blessings, it means you have taken those bad wishes from him. You have been affected by it. So he says, they're the ones who are giving and you're the ones who are taking. And so the question we have to, well, what we have to check within ourselves is, why am I accepting those bad wishes that's coming from someone else? When I know that my nature is to give good wishes and to give blessings. Now, I find for me, if I love someone, I genuinely love them. It's easy for me to tolerate their idiosyncrasies, their bad habits, their aggression, their passive and active aggression. I always find a benefit of a doubt to say they're doing it because of this, and so it's easy to forgive them. It's easy to turn around and be nice to them, even if they were not nice to me. Why? Because I love them, I understand them, and I recognize it's my brother or sister. And so I wouldn't take what they're giving me because my nature, my tendency would be, if I take what they give me, then I'll alienate them. And I don't want to alienate them. I want to keep them close. So that is the kind of tolerance Bob is asking us to have this month. But the nature we need to have the power of that kind of tolerance is a nature that I must give blessings. I must give good wishes. And I must do it with recognition, understanding, and love for my fellow human beings. Not just do it blindly, but I need to recognize, I need to love, I need to understand. So he was saying this. And so he says, in order to keep ourselves safe. Now, this was a big one for me. To keep protection, he says, people are asking for protection. So they're asking for the protection, the peace, the power, the forgiveness. Now, we as ancestor souls, in giving this to others, we have to keep ourselves safe. How do we keep ourselves safe? Is not to receive or take in the bad vibrations coming from others. And that's my responsibility. I have to keep myself safe by doing that. So then he gave us the homework that we had to do. And the homework is connected to how ancestors see souls. So he was saying, do not, when you look at someone as a soul, and this is the homework we have to practice until 3 months. So when you're looking at the soul, do not see the soul's current, present sanskaras. What should you see? Their original sanskaras. So if someone is angry with you, what would you see? Would you see the present sanskaras of anger, or would you see their sanskara of peace? Right? You would see the sanskara of peace within them and know that their light is not on then. So that is why they're working in the darkness of anger, because they haven't put their light on to see that they have the peace. So Baba is saying we need to change our attitude and we need to change our vision in order to finish situations that would occur as a result of seeing people with their present sanskaras. Every time I see someone with their present sanskara, that's how I'm forming a relationship with them, based on the sanskaras I'm seeing in them. Have you ever thought about that? When you encounter someone, how do you form a relationship with them when you look at them? Baba is saying, your relationship is determined by what you see in the other. If you see anger, that's your relationship. If you see peace, that's your relationship. So then he went on to talk about the 3 pars, what we must not look at. This is like a lesson on drishti, how to give drishti, what to look for and what not to look for. So he's saying we must give up 3 pars and we must inculcate 1 par. So the 3 pars we have to give up is do not look at others, pardarshan. The other part is do not think about others. And the third is do not follow the dictates of others. The one that we have to inculcate is to uplift others. Par upkar. Now the word par, as you heard on Sunday, it means the other or another. There's another way. Or there's the other that is occupying your space inside and is infiltrating your private space and pushing you out of your own space, and they are taking the seat inside of you. So no pardarshan, no parchintan, and no parmat. Not to follow the dictates, but instead uplift others. So there's a second level to our nature. One is to give blessings, to give good wishes, but the other is to always have the generosity to uplift others. Always give them the opportunity to be something more than what they are in the present moment, or always provide a space for them to be nurtured into being something different. So that's par upkari, you're uplifting them. Now Baba said we have to give sakash. Then he went on now to say how we should give this sakash. He says Daddy Janki did it beautifully when there was service that started in Karachi. Now she eventually went to Karachi, but when she supported service starting in Karachi and didn't go initially, she used to give Mansa Seva. And Baba says that he noticed her giving it. That's another thing. When we do Mansa Seva, It's not going on, it may go unrecognized by others, but never unrecognized by Baba, because he is looking at us doing it as he did with Daddy Janki, and how through her Sakash, sending Sakash to Karachi, how much he gave those people happiness that they continued with Baba's knowledge and Baba's remembrance. And so Baba is reminding us that we have to listen to the cries of our devotees. They know us, we may not know them. Every single Brahmin has devotees. You cannot say you don't have devotees because every single one of you have it. So don't be clever and don't be slack. They want your help. They're crying out in distress. So please give them. So he's saying that we are the roots of the trees. The roots are the ones who gave Sakash. Now we must increase this level of service. And the busier we become in developing and cultivating a mind that is qualified to serve, it is the more, Baba says, that we ourselves will become free from the obstacles that Maya presents to us. And she presents it at the level of the mind. She presents our obstacles at the level of our feelings. She presents those obstacles at the level of our intentions. She presents those obstacles at the level of our nature. So he's saying that if we become more and more busy in Mansa Seva and we have to put it all together to do Mansa Seva and give Sakash, we will have less obstacles. And then he says everything we're doing at the confluence age is actually going to give us the reward for the next cycle. The reward will be seen in the stage that we develop, the vritti that we have, the words that we would use, the quality of the expressions we will have, our relationships, our connections, everything of the present time is going to determine the quality of our rewards in the future. So it's not just a reward of ruling, but it's a reward at every level of our development. And so he says, if you decide to do something like this, getting busy in giving Sakash, don't put it off. Do it now. Because Baba doesn't like Kabhi Kabhi. What does he like? Abhi Abhi. So Kabhi Kabhi means sometimes. Abhi Abhi means right now. This moment in time. Do it now, never. And then Baba says that he looks, when he's looking, he tells us all of this, and then what does he look at? He looks at how much efforts we're making. And when he sees us making these efforts, he feels a lot of love. Now he's saying to us, look, there's an easy way to put this word sada into your efforts. And the easy way to do it is to become lost in Baba's love. The more I emerge in Baba's love, it's the easier my efforts become. Because where he's taking us in this Murli is called deep work. He's taking us into the depths and depths and depths of soul consciousness. And he's saying, look, you have to work with yourself at this level. As a root, you don't work at yourself at an image level. As a root, you work with yourself at a deep level. And then he says, this love will make us free from all laboring. So we have to become lost in Baba's love. Otherwise, if we don't become lost in his love, we'll become lost in the situations and circumstances. So I was thinking now, how do we prepare to serve with the mind? And I will actually end here. And serving with the mind, Baba asks us the question, do you know how to serve with your mind? Do you remember him asking that question? Do you know how to serve with your mind? So I think there are three things that we need to know. One is we need to serve the mind. The question we need to ask, do I have a mind that's qualified to serve? Secondly, I need to experiment with how my mind serves me. How do my thoughts serve me? And then the third, how do I serve through the mind? How do I become an instrument for Baba to use me to serve with his light and might? So he told us what to do. He says that I should keep the ornaments. So when he uses the word ornaments, I think he's talking about the four ornaments in Vishnu's hands. So when I'm working with preparing my mind to serve, I will look at the Swadarshana, the chakra. I will look at the conch. I will look at the lotus. I will look at the mace. And then I would practice Manmanabhav and Madhyaji Bhav while being in the incorporeal stage. So while being in the bodiless stage, I'm looking at the quality of my thoughts. I'm looking at the quality of my words. I'm looking at the quality of my activities, lotus, and I'm looking at the quality of the sakash, which is the mace, which is the power. So Baba says, now, if we do this, we will become stable in our original stage. And then all the different types of nature, things that happen to us, like this morning's Murli, he says the elements will become your enemy. So all of that will be the things that will create the adverse situations in our life. We will be able to overcome them with this deeper practice of preparing the soul to serve through its mind. Now, remember I said he said something very significant about intentions? He says that when we are not able to see the intentions of ourselves, all the things we do there will be a conflict of nature if I cannot see that pure intention of myself. If I do see it, it will resolve the conflict. And then I will be able to develop the power to face. So intentions is a very subtle thing. You just can't say, oh, I had a clean intention, and so what I did was pure and clean. But no, it may be something in my nature or something in my feelings or something in my words that contradicted the intention. So I have to go back and check the intention. And if I can see it clearly, I will remove the conflict. And then I will end with two things now, because I think it's important. One is the drill that he gave us. And that is, what is our drill? We have to repeat it. So as I say it, you repeat it. As from today, I will see all souls in their original sanskaras. As of today, I will see all souls in their original sanskaras. Every day, we have to do that. As I'm looking at souls, even sometimes you're looking at the soul, but you're not looking at the soul's original sanskaras. You're looking at their present sanskaras. So this is something that would help the ancestor soul. And then how many of you did your chart? Did you empty your intellects every night before you said goodnight to Baba? So remember what you have to do, right? And it's very helpful because he said you will sleep like a baby if you do that. You will get rid of everything from the intellect for the day. And then, of course, you're going to sleep soundly. So Baba says every night before you go to sleep, before saying good night, Shiv Baba to Bap Dada, give Baba, and now what you have to give him? Your whole chart. What does a whole chart means? Everything, good or bad. Not just what was bad, or not only just what was good, but both. Then he says, empty the intellect of it. Just like pulling these threads out of the intellect that I indulge with, the intellect was occupied with during the day. Empty the intellect. Say goodnight to the Father after emptying that intellect. Say goodnight to Baba, and then sleep in the remembrance of the Father. And you will sleep very well. So, how many of you have problems sleeping? It's because you don't empty your intellect before going to sleep. You have to empty that intellect before you say goodnight. The Bible says, first, he repeated it, first empty your intellect. Do not keep anything in your intellect. And if you were to do this for 3 months, you would have been stamped. And when you're going into the subtle region, in order to go home, you would be safe. You would have the angels telling you, oh, don't go into that line. That's the line of Dharamraj. You go into this line because you don't have to go to Dharamraj. You emptied your intellect and you said goodnight to Baba. And you know what? You're going into the line of those who please the honest heart of the Father. So you're in the honest heart line. You're not in the line of Dharamraj. Right? Wouldn't you feel proud that you don't have to do that? So that was Baba's Murli. So 2 things you take away from this Murli. Please do the drill of not just looking at you're the ancestor souls, not just looking at souls as souls, but souls in their original sanskars, and do not look at their present sanskars. And then do your chart. And the chart is about emptying your intellect before you say goodnight to Baba. And sleep like a baby. Sleep soundly. Okay, so maybe 5 minutes before we stop. Anything you want to ask? It's interesting how Baba talks in a complex way, but then so simple. But it's layers and layers and layers and layers he's taking us into. If we do what he says, what different people will be, right? And sometimes you don't know how, you don't need to know how to do it, just do it. And he's telling us what to check too, what to check from inside of myself. I mean, the idea, and I mean, the point of Gyan that he shared, that if there is impurity in your intention, there would be a conflict in the action. It will create a conflict. And that's how I know my intention wasn't absolutely clean.
I have a question about writing a chart in the evening. How much time we should spend in writing a chart?
Just many things you have to empty your intellect. If you have 2 things to empty your intellect of, 2 minutes. If you have 50 things to empty your intellect of, 50 minutes. So it depends on what you have inside that you need to say to Baba before you say goodnight to him. And the direction was clean and clear. Empty your intellect. So how do I know my intellect is empty? He says, you will be in Baba's remembrance. Because what stops you from being in Baba's remembrance is the clutter in the intellect. So you're uncluttering your intellect. So you'll start off, Baba, I'm taking out of my intellect. I had to spend an hour working on a program. So all of the memories of working on that program, I want to clear out of my intellect. Baba, today I cooked and I'm remembering everything that I cooked and I'm remembering the ingredients and I clear it out of the intellect. So think of the main things you did for the day and then go through each one of them and clear it out of the intellect. In other words, you're not doing a post up on those actions, even subtly. You're just handing them over to Baba and you're clearing them. And then you remember him. He says, become merged in my love. Remember me. And not just he's saying clear it out of the intellect, because once you start clearing it out of the intellect, you'll see if there were anything left in your feelings about it. If there was anything left in your intentions, it touched the intentions of sort. Was there anything, that you needed to work on? So it shows you a lot. But if you do it consistently for a number of days, it becomes easier for you to detect it. For the first couple of days, 2, 3 days, it might be a little bit of an effort. Well, what do I say here? What did I do? Maybe you will get 3 things for the day that you would capture and empty your intellect up. But as you start doing it, it becomes more and more visible to you. The intellect will start showing you things that it's cluttered with. And for you to give it to Baba, it's you handing it over to him so that you can have a safe sleep then. You're not carrying the things of the day in the intellect that is staying with you at night, that is disturbing you very deeply because it has stayed with you. And it's influencing and impacting you in a way that you can't get out of it the next day. So he's saying by doing this, you are releasing yourself from the day's threads that could tie you in bondage.
Great. Thank you so much, Gayatri Ben. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Okay, so let's close now with Baba's remembrance. Nice to see you, Hiba.
You too. Thank you.
Okay.